I've been budgeting for over a year now, and these are all of my tips that work for me. What works for me might not work for you. I recommend The Complete Guide to Money by Dave Ramsey. Honestly, it made me feel so much more in control of my finances. He discussed budget options, paying off debt, emergency funds. He explained realistically investing, retirement, and overall just made me feel confident. Like I can take control of my money. So there are plenty of methods and different budgets that you can actually do. I do the $0 method. So every single dollar is accounted for. This prevents random spending. Oh, I got a random $20 and now it's free money. No, you still have that $20, but now you know where to put it. You could track your finances on your phone, on your laptop, or on a physical journal or notebook. I have tried so many times to do it in a physical notebook, but it does not work for me. I use the Numbers app on my MacBook. It's a free app. There is a budgeting section and a budgeting template. I do still have a physical journal, but I don't use it. Now, what's good about the Numbers app is you can access it from your iPhone if you have an iPhone, but I find that it's a lot easier to do it on my MacBook. The way that I budget is I have the month at the top, and then I track all of the money coming in. I track the date, the location, and the exact amount. At the end of the chart, it breaks down total income, and then I can see the number. It does it for me automatically. There's a second chart that is all of the outgoing money. This is where I break all of my spending into categories. My personal categories are car insurance, phone bill, food, groceries and fast food, gas tank, health and hygiene, pleasure. This is my fun money, giving, holidays, birthdays, random tips, etc. Work, taxes. I have a move out saving goal, rent, miscellaneous, appliances, and then I have a separate category for my car maintenance, inspection violations, windshield washer fluid, random stuff that's not monthly, but it's good to still have a budget for. Based on my income, I also have a bank account total and I have a bank account goal. This is the amount that I want my savings to be in at the end of the month. It also automatically takes in the total expenses, and in the chart right next to where I put my budget for each category has the number, and then it'll tell you the total at the bottom. In the outgoing chart, right next to it, that's not actually inside the chart, is how much I spend. And I keep up with this by keeping track of all of my receipts. I will just update it about once a week. It can be a lot to keep up with, especially if you spend a lot of money, but it's important. If you are spending and you don't even know where you're at with money, you're going to overspend way more than if you just kept track, because then you know, okay, $300 for food every month, cool. That means I can spend $300 on groceries and fast food. And then I keep track next to the total, the date and the time, just so I know when's the last time it's been updated. Let's say I updated it on December 1st, but that was at 10 a.m. And then I went and I filled up my gas tank and I went to the grocery store. I want to make sure I am as accurate as possible. Next to that, I have the remaining balance. So how much is remaining? How much is over? Underneath the outgoing chart, I have a total spent. This is a quick view of where I'm at in each category. Underneath that is my eat out. How many times, where, and then I have my bank account savings information. This is another quick look of where my bank account currently is. Underneath that information, I have a breakdown of spendings. This is where the receipts are very important. I keep track of the day, the amount, the category, and where it was spent. Underneath the breakdown of all of the spending that I've done, I have the end of month total for each category. Again, this is kind of like a quick look overview of how much I've spent in every single category. I just want to see numbers. in this section so I know how I did overall. And then I have spent. This is never a pretty number unless you manage to spend $5 in 1 month, but sometimes I'm afraid to calculate how much I truly spent in all of the categories because it's usually well over $1,000 and it kind of hurts a little after I calculate that. But to finish off the end of the month, I have a final overview. This is kind of like a mind dump of how did I do? Honestly, was I on my budget, over, under? What can I improve next month going forward? And at the end of the month, I always start the next month before we even get into that month. Because if you spend money before you even know what your budget is, you're going to be overspending. And when you are on a budget, and everyone should be on a budget, no matter how much money you make, you should have a budget of knowing how much you can spend in each category. But I always make sure that after I do the overview of how I did, I make the certain necessary adjustments in the next month. Do I need to raise my food budget? Do I need to lower my health budget? Do I need to make any adjustments? This paragraph can either feel really great or it can feel really terrible because you are being honest with yourself. You are taking accountability with your money and your spending habits. It takes away the fear of shit, you're overspending. You don't know how much money is even in your bank account. You're just tapping the card, hoping that the money's in there. That is a terrible feeling. I have been there before, but keeping track of my expenses makes it 10 times easier. It makes me feel safe because I know where I'm at and it is very, very, very responsible. Now, this is what works for me. It can be a lot to keep up with, truly, but it's worth it. I don't know other types of budgets because I never had to actually learn something different. So hopefully this helps with your own setup and how your organization works. Definitely make sure that you're saving every receipt. And I would recommend, if you're not going to update your budget every time you spend money, at least put an initial or make sure you know what category those things fall into before you even actually start keeping track of everything. Before you go to a store, have a list of everything that you need. Shop online first and compare different places. For example, Target versus Giant versus Walmart. See what places have better pricing so you can get the most amount of objects for the least amount of money. This is how you save money, is by comparing the same items at different stores, but also have the pricing next to each product as well and have your budget at the bottom. For example, if you have a $300 food budget, but you only want to spend $50, make sure you have that number of how much it costs as well as the aisle that it's in. Because if you don't know where something is, you're strolling down each aisle and you're looking at things, it makes it so much easier to just be like, that's only $4. Let me grab it. And you're grabbing things that are not in your budget, or you're grabbing things that you don't need. So when you know how much it is, where it's located, you're a lot more likely to stick to your original budget that you set, as well as the grocery list that you have in either your phone or on a piece of paper. Okay, so it's the next day. I do want to add, the reason it's so important to have the number next to all of the products, apart from so you're not spending on things that you shouldn't be or that you didn't originally plan for, it's so at the end of checking out, you're not hit with a random number, because when you don't know how much you're actually spending and keeping track, it's pretty much a Russian roulette, except you take a hit every single time. It feels so good when you budget for a $35 shopping cart and you stick to that $35 shopping cart, or maybe it's $36.10 or it's even $32.15 if you didn't find exactly what you were looking for, or you managed to find a better deal. But that's why it's important to shop online and you know the pricing, because you know what you are paying without getting hit with a random ass number. And that's why it's also important to compare pricing between different shopping locations, no matter what it's for, whether it's clothes, it's food, it's car insurance, it's for car maintenance. Getting different quotes for different places lets you know the options, to be honest, but also where can you get the most bang for your buck. Getting the same items, but for a better deal. So if you have to go to 3 different stores, but you save $15, so be it. Or you could just spend more than you have to, and that's why you complain about not having money, because you're spending too much. It can be very, very, very annoying to do, truly. It can be a lot to keep up with, especially when you're in the store and you're actually shopping. Usually I either bold it or I just erase it, but I keep track of the tally. Every single thing I put in my cart, I have my calculator out and I add it, and then I put the total at the bottom next to where I have my budget. This keeps me accountable, but it also keeps me in control of my finances. Some other tips to save money is to honestly just eat out less. Starbucks, fast food, anything like that, not even restaurants, but mainly fast food. That is small $5 coffee every morning. It's a small $4 croissant every other day. These tally up very quickly. At one point, I was eating out 11 to 13 times a month. Last month, I only ate out 3 times. And the month prior, I think I ate out maybe 7, but 5 of them were free. So I made sure to dial down my eating out, mainly fast food. My top 3 were Starbucks drinks, Barnes & Noble cafes, and Salad Works. Those were my 3 money eaters. Instead of getting a coffee every morning, get a coffee machine and the little cups and make your coffee every month. You'll spend probably $15 a month versus getting like the cups and the products for it, versus if you spend, let's say the coffee is as low as $3 on a good day, and there's 31 days sometimes in a month. That's $93 a month on coffee. And that's if it's $3. Most of the time, it's between $3.50 to about $8, depending on where you get it, what you get in it, and stuff like that. But that's $100 out of your pocket on coffee. That small purchase that you make, no, it's not small. It adds up because it's a daily habit that you have for yourself that you keep spending. Reuse what you already have, because you do not need to buy something new for everything. It just stops impulse buys. That wraps up this video. I hope this helped. Hopefully you can take something from this video and apply it to your real life, where you can get better at saving money. Better habits, more money in your pocket. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.